All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started with our last one of the night. Next, we've got offensive coordinator at St. John Bosco, the current national champions, Stephen Lowe. He's been there for 5 years. Prior to that, he was at Sarah High School in California, and where they won their the school's first ever state championship. And Coach has been awesome. I met him through Coach Vass. Him and Coach Vass are friends, so they don't hold that against him. But it's kind of funny because our first conversation was after listening to him on Vass's podcast talking about using the double wing in the goal line. And so our first conversation that we had together was actually about running the double wing. So, but he's going to be talking about pin and pull tonight. This will be our last one of the night, guys, and then we'll start back up tomorrow at 6 again tomorrow. So for night 3. But without further ado, Stephen Lowe.
All right, guys. Welcome tonight. Like Jay said, thanks for the strong introduction there. But I'm Stephen Lowe, offensive coordinator at St. John Bosco down here in Southern California. Definitely, I'm glad to help out and help out the Gaylor family. And it's unfortunate we're together in these circumstances. But I'm definitely excited to be here to help out in any way possible. But definitely going to a good cause. But we're here tonight to talk a little about pin and pull and how we do it, and some of the things that we found that's worked for us. So, definitely, if you guys have questions, feel free to shoot at any point in time. I'm not gonna, I won't be offended at all. Just jump on in and throw your questions my way. Let me just pop my screen on real quick, and we'll get rolling.
Hey, one thing about that, guys, Coach Lowe, let me butt in real fast. If you'll just type them into the Q&A, I'll ask Coach Lowe. So I know some people have been raising their hand, but I have no way to get to that. So just type your questions in the Q&A, and I'll get them to Coach Lowe.
All right, awesome. So pin and pull for us, a little bit about who we are and our run menu and how pin and pull fits in. We're an inside zone, wide zone, gap scheme team with power, counter, the whole complement there. We feel like pin and pull is a good little wrinkle to throw into the offense to really, affect how teams are going to play you in the run fits. With zone schemes and gap schemes marrying so well together, it's definitely nice to have something that fits. Front side, we can cross the quarterback's face, and where backers and stuff have to fit back over top of everything. So we feel like this is a really good complement to everything else we're running. So tonight we're going to talk about strong side pin and pull to a tight end surface. And then some of the adjustments, some of the wrinkles that we have to it. So first of all here, I'm going to start off with just an even front and some of the ways we block it. Before we get started, I definitely want to give credit where credit's due. I definitely spent a lot of time talking to the Run the Power guys. So if you guys haven't done so already, I would highly suggest signing up for their courses and jumping on, because they got a lot of great content, a lot of great installs and stuff like that for it. So another shameless plug for some more former Oklahoma guys, but you guys definitely do it right out there, and definitely want to learn from you guys always, and carry it forward and see how it fits with us. But for pin and pull for us, even front wise, we really love it. I really don't care what we're getting surface wise, a 7 or a 9. We'll be able to run it versus a little bit of everything. But when teams are really going to put a heavy 7 or play a heavy 6 on you, it's a good way to be able to set a good edge and get off tackle and get up to the perimeter in some cases. But we start off with our tight end. Basically, if we had a 6 or 7, we're going to have them take, that D end and basically wash them down and start to create the edge. The guard and the tackle, there's a lot of different things you can do here. As our base adjustment base rule, we'll have the guard actually reach the 3 technique. And this is kind of a game plan deal. So it really depends on what you're getting out of that 3 technique. So if you're getting guys that are slanting quite a bit and slanting a ton, and they're getting outside, trying to post outside on you, you could always have basically the down block come from the tackle and replace with the guard. One of the 2 guys will have to take care of that 3 tech. Basically, how we teach it to our guys, we give them the ability to call for the down block from the tackle if they need it. So we start off with the reach block. They're going to pin that outside edge. If they need help, they'll make the call for the tackle to come down, and then they'll replace out the first puller. So since the guard's going to be reaching through, the tackle is going to be the kick puller. He's setting the edge. He's really looking to get that run started by kicking out whoever shows up. If anybody shows up and tries to knife the thing, tries to fill it, he'll take the outside shoulder and he'll pin him in, and we'll continue to go outside to the outside track. Typically, we'll have our center be pulling through the second puller. We call this our mirror puller. So when he pulls through, His job is basically to pull through the hole, and he'll mirror through to the Mike backer. If the Mike backer is walked up, he blitzes through the play side gap. He'll retrace back and come back and pin him back through that gap. The backside two offensive linemen will basically be in a hard reach, cutting off anything that shows up in the A gap and the B gap. So really what we're looking to do is we're trying to close the gap between where the reach block is happening and where the center just vacated and where he just left from. So from the perimeter, from the edges, typically from our front side, we will push crack. We're basically going to head in towards any type of overhang or deep safety. Typically, we're not going to block corners unless they're the primary run fitter and setting edges. So as our day one rule, we're going to push back. Typically, we're going to work towards the deep safety and let the free safety be taken care of by the box and the line up front. Backside, you can throw any type of attachment there to beat man coverage. If you're getting packed boxes, man looks, you can get a man beater out there. If you're getting a lot of apex guys that are playing in between the box and in between perimeter guys, we'll tag bubbles and now screens and fast screen attachments to get the ball quickly to space. Footwork for the back and footwork for the quarterback. So our aiming point and our depth here, we're basically always trying to stay consistent within our alignment. So we're always going to split the outside leg of the guard, and our toes are going to be on the quarterback's heels. Our quarterback's heels will be at 5 yards typically. And then our footwork for this, we're going to pivot step and work right towards the outside hip of the tight end. All right. And the ultimate goal that we want for our back is to pace the second puller. So what we tell them, a couple of tips that we tell them is you have to pause at the catch, number one. So we don't want him taking off on the mesh until he sees the ball hit the quarterback's hand. Once that ball hits the quarterback's hand, then he can go ahead and start his mesh. We tell him slow to back through is the key that we give him. So he basically wants to pace himself, get along with the second puller, and his job is to get his inside hand on the backside hip of the lead puller, that mirror puller that we're looking at. So we want to track that guy because that guy's going to lead you to the promised land. If you have a great relationship with him and you're tracking that backside hip, you're able to bounce outside, you're able to cut back inside. You really have a two-way go off of the blocks that you're going to get on the perimeter. So we find that's the best tips for our guys. And once everything clears up, then they can stick their foot in the ground and get north and then go be an athlete and then, get up on a secondary play and make a miss. Quarterback's footwork, he's going to open up. It's not quite a 45-degree angle. We want that front foot of that quarterback to really lead him into the hole. So as we take a step, it's almost a drop step where we open it at, we call it a 60-degree angle to where we're going to slingshot him right into the hole. Quarterbacks, as a day one rule, when we're in pin pull, we'll read the C gap. Any defender that comes off the backside, we'll play a read game off of it. But here, the ends have to really be aggressive, chasing down to affect the play. So we tell the quarterbacks on this, so unless the guy's screaming down, spilling and running, trying to chase it down, we want to give it. Usually I tell my quarterbacks on this play, this is hitting on the far side. No one's out here to watch you run unless you're a dual threat quarterback. So typically we have him be a little more aggressive towards the give on this look. So that's the even look here. I'm going to show you some film on it real quick. First one, some even look here. We're getting a 9 technique. Let's go to the end zone copy here. So pretty wide 9. So in a 9 look right here, the tight end will continue to go through the C gap and take the next backer that shows up through here. So we use a little slide motion, as we call it. We're trying to slide him through the back of the offensive line and work into the flat, trying to get some safety rotation, try to get a corner into the run fit. There's another reason why I really like this run, especially to a dead tight end side, just because you start getting guys that aren't used to fitting pullers into the run fit. So now you start getting guys making business decisions because they're not used to being in that window. So tight end is going down here. As the backer traces outside, we call this a U out. So as the backer traces back out, the tight end will man him up and he'll just push him back outside the hole. So play side tackle. So in this game, we weren't getting a lot of slanting going out, posting back outside. So we're relieving our guard, basically reaching that 3 technique, and then he would be the first puller kicking out. So they were bending and spilling this week. So they wrong armed it to the inside. We were able to get the outside shoulder, pin him in, and then continue to push them through to the pile here, add him into the wall. Our center is going to be the mirror puller pulling inside. There's nobody to mirror blitzing through the play side A gap. So he's going to continue to go through the hole. Corner ends up being the most dangerous thing. The biggest thing you got to talk to your pullers about is about getting the run started. So we call it the road to Fallujah. So basically our offense line coach spent some time in the Marines and basically spent some time in Iraq. And this time in Iraq, when he was in Fallujah, nobody that is on the street is a friendly. Everyone's a hostile. So on the road to Fallujah, you're going to mow down anybody that shows up. On the road to Fallujah here for the center, the corner is the most dangerous thing. So he kicks it out, and there we have it pinned up and, gapped up pretty well. The backside offensive linemen are reaching, and all they're doing is just trying to build a wall to make sure there's no run-throughs. And then one of the two guys will end up climbing up to the most dangerous backer coming through the B gap. So there's that run popping on that. Okay, next look here is to a tight end and flanker set. So here we use the crack block from the outside to gain an extra hat, take a 2-for-1. So he ends up cracking down the safety. And then the nice thing about this play is, as you're on tracks and kind of working down, you kind of find the next most dangerous defender. So, in this situation, if this safety wasn't here, he might show up late. We might crack the middle safety, and then now the puller might take, the late guy that shows through here. So nice thing is, the biggest thing is if there's something that needs to get, blocked and clear it up. If not, you're going to move on and find work. So here we have a wide 9 again. So our tight end's going down. He's going to pin that linebacker down. So this is why we talked about this being a really good complementary run, because in order for you to defend pin and pull, you really got to fit those backers back over top. So it's a really good adjustment to, change the read and change the fit off the back sets that you're going to get and off of the back pass you're going to get. First puller is the tackle. He's going to be kicking out. So he'll take the inside shoulder away. Guys flying upfield, so he'll just ride them up, build a wall. We call this make him go through the back door. So try to protect the play side shoulder of that defender, make him go the long way to get the play. The mirror puller doesn't have anybody running through. So he's going to continue on his path and then scrape paint right off the tight end's butt, find work. His eyes, we teach him basically to look head up to inside for that middle backer that's going to be retracing for him. Running back does a great job here of pacing that second puller. So he's trying to get in relationship with him, hang on the inside shoulder, on the inside hip. And once that center starts to pull up, he makes his cut and he goes. Backside will be cutting off the inside gap. And then we end up getting a piece of the backside linebacker. Again, big touchdown blocks right there. Just bring that backside pursuit. So next one here, another 9 technique here off the edge. So coming down, spilling off the edge, wrong arming. So we're just going to pin him in. And then since we are pulling around, the center's got a really hard job here because as he's circling around, he's got to mirror any back coming through, but he's got to really feel for, the best path to get around. So, obviously we're going to game plan this, and we see a lot of, spilling. They're going to know that they're both going to have to get around this. But what I like about this, he just clears this up just enough to get the run started, helps out the tackle to finish out that block, and is able to get a piece of that corner to open it up.
Hey, Coach, got a question about your pulls.
Yes.
Do you prefer any type of pull technique, whether it be skip pull, open pull, or does it depend on the player?
Honestly, we teach for the first kick out, we definitely open pull and step towards it. Some guys are more comfortable, getting that skip pull. Some guys are more comfortable crossing over. So we teach both, and both kind of show up depending on the player and what he's comfortable doing. The biggest thing is for that second puller, he's got to stay relatively square to mirror back, especially. We've had some situations where guys will turn and commit too early and then end up getting run throughs. And that's where, things can really go awry. If you don't build in that mirror of that Mike running through that backside A, catching it from the backside. So regardless, whatever the pull technique you use, I think just teaching to stay square for the mirror pull that leads in, I think is the most important thing. For how quick the kick out happens, I would definitely prefer an open pull as opposed to like a skip pull with the block potentially happen right now on your first step.
Gotcha. And then I've got a second question. How much your run game is pin and pull? Is it a wrinkle or is it something you guys do a bunch of?
I would say it's been anywhere from some years 10% to 25, 30% in some years. So it kind of fluctuates. Honestly, when we're looking at our offensive line, we're going to build around, all right, we have big old monsters that can't move. We're going to be a little more downhill versus guys that are smaller or, need some help with angles to block. So I think this is the play that you take a look and you build around what your guys do well. And, if you can move the pieces or kind of find the right guys to fit that mold, I think, it can be kind of, I think it could slide from year to year, depending on your personnel. The backs, we've had little backs, we've had big backs. So that really hasn't really been too big a factor. It's really just what your offensive line does well. And I think just building off of their skill set and that's kind of our kind of guiding light when it comes to, leading this play off or kind of being more of a wrinkle. But it's been present for the past about 4 years for us.
And then got one more. If you're playing a team with a lot of movement that week, how much does that affect how often you call this, and how does that affect your offensive line?
It really depends on the type of movement. So if you're getting a lot of like loopers and things like that, it can get kind of hairy. You have to work some things through it. So there's been years where we've, kind of played through it and kind of found our way to kind of, it really depends on how much you want to invest in this play, honestly. So it's like, if it's something that's going to be really important for you, something you're going to lead off with, we're going to run this no matter what you're going to get. Slant wise, that's where your adjustments can happen with who you're pulling, depending on what's kind of in their package. So if you're getting a lot of like guys twisting inside, you may want to, build a little bit more solid wall with, the tackle coming down or the guards some weeks, depending on what you're getting. So that for us has kind of been our answer, is being able to pull different guys and given the flexibility for up front, depending on what we're getting in game too as well. So there's been times where we let off with our guard reaching, and then we ended up switching over to our tackle blocking down because we're getting a lot of field side pressure running this play into the boundary. We just want to get somebody stopped. So there's been weeks where we're doing that. So I think the flexibility of giving your linemen and teaching them what the purpose of each adjustments for, I think is huge, because when you give them, they know the why of what it's there for, and they're able to adjust it on the field. It gives you an ability to be a little more flexible with what you're getting. So
gotcha. Awesome.
That's how we've been able to take care of the movement.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So next one here. Now they're starting to bring another defender down inside, set the edge pretty hard. So this is where we got a little exit game going up top. So they're trying to knife inside and loop. So I'd like to see our center pull through and get a little more piece of that looper coming through. I think he sees them a little bit late, but the corner fitting outside again, where you're putting guys that are not used to setting edges, in that situation. This is not a guy that basically signed up to take on our guard. This is not something that he's done in the off season. So that's why I love this run. You're running at a dead tight end surface, and you're getting somebody trying to make a business decision. He runs his way out of there, and we're able to get out to the side and make a guy miss the space. All we're trying to do is we're trying to deliver our guys out to, safeties and corners. It's the old Herb Hand. There's 118 safeties in college football. I think it's at 115 of them are words that I can't say on this podcast probably, but we love it when we get ourselves up on a safety with some space here. So that could pose some problems for sure. So the later adjustment we made was we basically had the tackle stayed down on it, and he was able to press through that guy and not let him get the penetration on that and knock off. Okay, now just adding attachments to it, just simple formations, just condensing the formation, adding bubbles and easy access to it. Now if people load up on you, now you're getting easy access to work out to perimeter screens, different man answers that you can put on the backside of it. It's really flexible what you can put on the backside of it depending on what you're getting for the week. And then quarterback can still run on this. Those guys are spilling and chasing. You can get off and still, protect the backside, with your quarterback running and taking off. So odd next, and our odd and mint rules are pretty similar. So we're going to start off here off the edge. So again, since we don't really have a head up 6 or 7, we're going to stay down, basically work a combo with the tackle. So they're basically going to work, do a B gap track, C gap track, and go and take care of these gaps. Tackle's eyes should be inside looking for any run throughs. And then basically they're going to try to take this guy and slam him down 2 gaps over and try to get the edge set right away. If the tight end stepping down, he has about 3 or 4 steps to make a decision on either taking it over, knocking it over, or basically climbing up to the backer. Is basically what it's going to be. So if he has color in the hole, if he has it completely, he'll take it. And if there's some sort of run through, the tackle will come off. If it's kind of muddy and kind of gray, he'll clean it up, knock it over to the tackle. So we're basically going to bust down a door and knock his hip over, and we'll climb up to the backer. And then if he's going to get some sort of slanter, some sort of mover, then he'll climb up to the backer and work to the play side. Our base rule is our guards will pull in an odd front. So center will reach the play side gap right here, and then we'll have the first kick out pull. All right, he'll go an open pull. He'll be the mirror puller. So he's looking for any run throughs first. If there's no run throughs, he can continue on that path, go and scrape the paint and go and work and find the most dangerous thing, head up the inside, mirroring that middle backer. Backside tackle will still go through that B gap track, cut down the space, eliminate run throughs from the backside is the most important thing for him. Same rules for the outside receiver, push crack rules. And then, if you get any type of corner force, cloud looks, we'll adjust with that and block a man on. And then same attachments on the backside, same footwork, same aiming point, nothing changes for the front. So pretty consistent play here for these looks. So moving on here. So odd look here, so straight odd. A really good combo. And the good thing about this play, what we teach our guys is we want to leave basically 2 guys outside for the first kick pull and then for the mirror puller. So since the backer fits over top, we're going to look for the run through. Our tackle is not going to do a good job here of keeping his eyes inside. It opens up a potential run through. So that's the one thing I would definitely work is clearing up his inside hand and making sure his eyes are on his gap responsibility. So that's a big coaching point to make sure guys' eyes are right in the gap scheme to make sure that you don't get run through negative plays. This is where with guys pulling, you have run through lanes, you have those really, really attractive lanes that backers can see and hit. So you've got to get your guys right to make sure that they shut those down. This is where that play can get inefficient, is when you allow those openings, allow those opportunities for the guys to run through. So first kick pull does a good job taking the inside half, running them around the long way. And then the mirror puller does a good job of taking away the inside, opens up the lane. Like the cut from the running back, he's getting up north. Does a really good job on that. The next one, odd front, running to the field side formation into the boundary, trying to get them to set their coverage this side to get a softer edge. So tight end, tackle, they do a really good job of getting their eyes to the right gap. This is the technique we want. Now they're climbing. Tackle does a good job of staying square. His eyes are looking at the inside gap. So again, we get the first guy kicked out, second guy, we're kicking off the inside. And now you're hitting the guy fitting a big old gap. So he's got to fit the guy, hitting this thing tight and also be able to get him to the sideline. So we're able to give him enough room to wiggle. All we're asking for is just giving you a chance to get this run started and then let your athletes go do their thing on the perimeter. The thing I would want to see here is we want to condense our split a little bit more and work that push crack on the safety to get him out of this picture a little bit more. That's the one adjustment we definitely we made after this.
Hey, Coach, I think I asked you this, but you guys always run this with the inline tight end, correct? You don't ever do it with an off tight end or to an open inside.
Yeah, we started off with that. I haven't played with a ton of we played with a lot of inline tight ends, so it kind of naturally worked out for us. But I've seen guys run it before with the wing step, but we haven't done it.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So really good job by the tackle there, just keeping his eyes, looking for that run through. And that's a great wall built right there. So a little 3-high safety look. So this is a good way to be able to get all the safeties accounted for. So now you can basically add your crack guy to go get one of the deep safeties, and then now your kick out block can go get and set an edge. Mirror puller can get the other backer on the inside. So built a good wall here. So I really like the edge that we set here. Don't love the push that we get here. I like to see our tight end a little bit longer in that. Definitely really muddy. So he should knock that over and be more aggressive on his hip to knock that over and make it really clear for the tackle. So that way he can get up to that backer and climb up to him a little bit earlier. and then we can get somebody on 32. So need a little more down on the hip. He's a little too high in the block, not busting down the door of that hip. So we definitely got to get that a little bit better. Polar does a good job of staying tight and then takes him where he wants to go. He ends up pushing him out past the play. And now we got an athlete in space. He can go make a play on it. Okay, there's double again. They both end up coming off, but the tight end should really stay on this right here. But again, you have a lot of guys fitting outside this play because the path of the back is taking guys there. And then there's a great relationship with the back staying with the mirror puller to bait everyone back outside and then stick his foot in the ground when that mirror puller steps up into the hole. This is a good adjustment here, especially if you're getting any type of bear looks. This is just an odd look here, but we use our quarterback in this run play too as well in a couple different ways. So one adjustment we make is, especially if we're getting a lot of run throughs on the backside and you're getting a lot of mugged up linebackers or bear look, we'll full zone the backside and we'll basically run G lead instead. So for G lead, we're going to keep the same double team on the point of attack. We're still going to pull the front side guard to go and make the kick out. And then we will full zone the backside to make sure there's no run throughs. And then we'll take a lead back and we'll turn him into the mirror puller. So he'll look for any run through linebackers and he'll go through the hole, looking basically head up to inside, taking away any type of run throughs. We use a little fly fake to hold the backside from taking off. And then we'll take a little power step footwork, mirror up with the back, get with his back hip, and then go through the hole. So great bear adjustment and great looks for when you see him mugged up looks and getting a lot of run throughs. But set the edge, kick out. But we use this out of the same family. We call this basically still quarterback pin and pull with the lead block. And then more attachments here. Again, as you start getting successful in this play, you start loading up on the play side. They're just going to leave open bubbles, open the grass to the opposite side to work attachments. But here we're just working easy bubble. Again, they're overplaying it because we've had quite a bit of success with it earlier on, and we end up getting back out to the perimeter that way. Work a little empty, motioning our back into the backfield versus a mint front. So mint and odd, our rules are basically the same. Our guards will be the primary pullers. Really, the toughest block is just getting your backside tackle to cut off that 4-eye. There's the kick, does a really good job of scraping tight. There's the crack for the near safety, and then getting that corner and I'll try to fit and everything. Now he's trying to take on a guard. He's running out of there, and now we got a chance to get off to the perimeter. I love C-gap plays, especially versus the mint, just because if they're going to try to knock everything out, we'll build some walls and get outside of everything. Great relationship with the puller. And that's a good look right there. You see he's basically pacing the hip, the back left hip of that guard. Guard does a really good job of staying square as he's mirror pulling through here. He's searching for run-throughs. Tackle does a good job this time, keeping his eyes inside and pinning it and building a wall. That's a really good example of keeping those eyes inside and staying square on that double team. A little too aggressive with his inside hand, but does a good job of at least peeling off here. But I can't stress enough just how important it is for you to stay square, keeping your eyes on the right gap for that front side, and then staying square for the mirror pull. All right, pin and pull versus the bear. So we haven't seen it a ton versus the bear, but the adjustment we talked about by our quarterback running versus the bear look. Get our tight ends to block it down, and then we're working the G lead portion of it. So a lot of times if we're getting guys knifing or starting or twisting and moving at all, we'll just full zone this backside and then basically get our back as the lead blocker for this. or motion a second back in, motion a fly guy in order to get somebody for the safety, in order to get this run started. So that's our adjustment for that on this backside to make sure that, we can get everyone accounted for. It really depends on what you can do here on the backside. If you can get your 3 technique cut off, or you can put them on the ground, you can cut them and you can still get your guard pulling through. So that's kind of our adjustments and what we've seen from the Bear, but really haven't gotten ourselves in a game situation where we've needed to run it here versus that. That would be our answer. Other little wrinkles for it. We run bash out of this too as well. So we'll send our back away and we'll basically invert the read, send him on a flat path, read the outside backer, and then basically just read off of him, some split full action. So the end flies upfield or sits, working again with the pullers. Like for him to get his foot in the ground and get north here, and to kind of dampen them the hole too much. Guard needs to get a little bit tighter on the mirror pull. He's definitely too wide. If you see if he's able to knife down inside the hole, play skips a little bit, but you'll see it right here. He needs to get through here tighter so he gets a one-way go for that linebacker or for that safety coming down. But because he hasn't squared up, a better athlete's going to make that guy miss. But we got to scrape the paint a little bit better. We got to get more contact, more surface, on this down block here to make it more secure, because now our quarterback can just knife it and go upfield. Those are the 2 things you got to fix. So you got to get pullers to stay nice and tight. You get the huge piece of the guy, ends up knocking him over, but our quarterback dances way too much on it. He's got to get it north on it. Here's another bash look versus an even front. So nothing changes up front for your offensive line. Just some split flow action with pullers going left, back going opposite to the right, especially if you're getting a lot of still pass. It's a good way to get an athlete in space. Biggest thing for this one is just getting our receiver to settle in and get a better piece on the stock block here. You can see the edge is pretty clean, doesn't break down soon enough, ends up getting run by. Pass needs to be more directed to the outside shoulder. And now we can circle the wagons right around the outside. Okay, now we're going to get into some of our ways we RPO out of pin and pull. So with pin and pull, you really have to fight to get these backers back over top to get more bodies to match the pullers. That's why pin and pull is such a great play, because you're taking, extra bodies, you're moving gaps over, and you're really taking a ton of bodies, and you're trying to shove bodies over here to the side to basically overload them with people. So they're going to have to start taking secondary players. They're going to start taking backside linebackers to start to fit them over back the other side of the center, try to match up body for body. So when we're doing that, and we're seeing a lot of backers flying out of there or adding into the run fit, we're able to lock the backside and basically read overhang safeties on the backside to make throws off of. So the first look we have here is just a nice easy pop for number 3 with a bubble. So basically this is your 1A, 1B off of the backer read right here. So our gaps basically work like this. If our C gap is blocked, our quarterback will look up and out to basically find the first most dangerous threat inside the paw pass to read off of them. So footwork doesn't change for the running back or for the quarterback. Our pop rules, basically we're looking to bend into open space. So if you're uncovered, uncapped, you can just stay vertical on the seams. There's split safety. If you got a safety over top, it's the old, if you're capped, you snap it. We're looking for about 3 to 5 steps, to kind of depending on your grasp and your feel for it. Really, we let our guys just feel for open space. Your job is to hold it vertical as long as possible, and then bend into the open space, find the open window. So here's our number 3 receiver, just bending right around, wrapping right around that linebacker, filling into the B gap. And with the safety having to defend over top, we have some open space to make it happen. The only thing that changes here on the backside is these guys locking back on these on the down 1 and the down 2 defender. So the one thing I don't like about this play is our center needs to be a little more aware of this backer. As he's pulling through here, there's a potential run through. So you need to be a little more cautious on just dipping out of here with his shoulder turn. So this is a big coaching point of not letting your guys just turn and run. Because if this guy runs through and we hand out the football, it could potentially be a problem. Another pop variation here from the same look from a dead tee set. The backer's triggering, they're working a field pressure, rolling back into cover 3. So now receiver just stays open right down the seam and just gets away from the safety that's rolling back to him and just gives eyes. So since the guy's triggering fast, we got to give eyes fast and make yourself available. It was a really good job of just kind of slowing yourself into the open space and not running yourself into an open hit. Quarterback's getting a fast trigger from his read so he can get that ball out quickly and go deliver it to him. So here they're trying to knife inside and get inside of our tight end. Tight end does a good job of just staying on path and just washing them down. Then we get the run started and we keep everything rolling through here. Good job of not running through open shoulders, open colors here. Opposite colors, just taking whatever's there in front of you and knocking it out and getting the run started. A good wrinkle that we had running this play, we ran quite a bit of slide motion where we just worked our guy across. We orbited quite a bit and worked a whole series of plays off of that. Orbited through a couple of bubbles and got people to bite and start to work out. This is an adjustment we got from Bama, but they basically worked the stock here off the orbit motion. And then we would widen the stock and then pop right through the open window and then still reading the backer, locking the backside for an RPO. So this is a fun little adjustment we had that really gave us some good mileage out of this. We're getting safeties to rotate. Now they're split safeties. We're showing the stock like we're just, running our normal orbit bubbles. And then all of a sudden we pipe down inside and work between both the safeties. Get up front, just get an even front here. So even rules. So this week we pulled our tackle, reached the 3. There's our mirror puller. Nothing changes on the front side. It's really you're locking the backside down 1 and down 2. And then we'll read the B gap linebacker that's standing inside of the stock and go. So lock it again. We popped a couple of them early and then backers starting to sit back outside. Now we got the RPO threat going on the backside. They're not getting guys fitting over top and matching body for body. Now they're running out of bodies to match up for our blockers on the play side. So definitely as you hit a couple of big stop plays and plays that knife and gash them, you get those backside backers playing a lot slower. And then you can mix in and out of getting back to your RPO game and just reading the backside. Good little compliment. And then same side, pin and pull. We did this with tackle over. So with same side pin and pull, footwork just changes slightly. You take a check step, you angle your hips towards the tight end, and then once that happens, everything else is exactly the same. So it's just a way to break your tendencies so you're not always crossing face. Get some same side runs to mess with the defense a little bit. We'll boot off of this. We ran this to a tackle over set. Got a little more horsepower down there on the blocks. Backside ends up running through the hole, but he should just stay on and lock on that defender slanting in. A great wall going down there, and then you have a great edge to circle back outside. And then one more look of same side pin and pull. So here's a look at reaching it. We let our tackle reach it just because they're spending a little more time doing it. Only thing I don't like about this is he's got to be a little more definitive. Either turn him out or settle him, back inside and log him. He just kind of gets strung out a little bit too much, which is why we don't really like doing it a ton with tight end, just because the play can get strung out and your pullers are trying to figure out where to fit in. It's a little bit easier just to set the edge and then let your kick pull figure it out. whether they're going to log it or they're going to kick it out.
Hey, coach, got a question on the same side part of this. They're asking, did you give it a new play call, or did you just make a tag for the running back to make it same side?
The way we call it is we tell our back, we give them a number alignment. So basically we give them basically evens and odds based on our left and right. So like evens are to the right, odds are to the left. So all we do is just get into the formation and we tell him the number. So wherever he is and where he's got to end up, he's got to figure it out. So that's how we do it.
But linemen don't know where the back's at, right?
They have no idea. They don't care.
Okay.
They really don't care. So this is still, our normal pin and pull play that we call. Nothing changes here for this look. It is because it's a tackle overlook. But if you're running the same side without the tackle overlook, it's still pin and pull. Nothing changes because it's going to still time up the same. And we've run it out of pistol before. That doesn't change anything. They're basically taking a check step. They're going to turn towards the tight end, still aim towards the same aiming point. So it's check, scissor, and go. So if they're doing it from a pistol alignment. So really, it's just about timing up your footwork and making sure it matches to the same path. And after that, nothing changes for us. So, so simple, easy wrinkle that you can get to, present a different look. So it's not just the same every time. So here it is, check, scissor, and now he's back in phase with the second puller. I really like where he is with the mirror puller because now he can get in, he can dip back out. It's really open for him to get wherever he needs to get. Here's another look at same side. So still the same alignment. Check, scissor, aiming towards the tight end, but we'll boot off of it just to try to slow somebody down the backside. Yeah, and that's a look at our pin and pull and how it works for here at Bosco for us.
Coach, what are some ways? You just mentioned the boot. What are some other ways that you protect the? Do you have anything else that you guys do? Do you do any type of play action, like pocket play action to protect it, or is it mainly boot?
We boot off of it, and then we have a trap pass, but it's not with the same set of pullers. So we typically trap pass with just the backside guard pulling, and we just keep the wall built in. So that's another way we're able to kind of present the same type of action without, but without the two pullers. So it's kind of trying to keep a little more of a wall together. Awesome. But we try to dress up the formations and the motions to look exactly the same, and try to build, usually a series off of, inside run, the gap run, play action, all off of the same look.
And then are you pretty normal on the backside? In a lot of instances, do you have an RPO on the backside to protect you, versus a lot of front side stuff?
Yeah, typically our backside is kind of our outlet when the look is bad and we need to fix it. Typically, we're going to use the answer from, the backside receivers to answer that problem. So whether it be if we're getting a ton of man pressure or man looks that week, we'll put in some sort of man attacker and get guys picking and rubbing. And then if you're getting some sort of zone look where guys are doing, that's when we jump into our RPO game.
Gotcha. Got another question here. You ever toy around with any tight end wing stuff?
Yeah, we actually done it out of our 12 personnel. Down the goal line, we've worked a little bit of it, and really just adds another guy to present to block down and build a surface for you. So it just gets another immediate guy, on a play side backer, on a safety that's coming down aggressively. So it's all a numbers game. So it's just you're just canceling out another guy with another body. So for us, 12 is kind of a wrinkle for us. Out here in California, it's really hard to find a ton of tight ends. It's just everyone out here wants to be a wideout. And then if you're that tight end body, you typically go to defense. You play backer, you play D end. And we have more edge rushers that we can count. But, guys don't really want to play tight end here. So it's kind of difficult in our region, kind of find a ton of tight ends and kind of guys, just kind of how we're built, out here out west.
Right. What about, so I know you kind of mentioned this a little bit earlier, but so when you get a 3 technique in the 4 down front, you start out reaching with the guard, but is that kind of a game time adjustment where you bring the tackle down and then pull the guard, or do you let the kids call that pretty much nonstop?
We let the kids call it nonstop unless it's something that's really, really, something that we got to address. So we start off there as our day one rule, and kind of give them, hey, reach them until you can't. You can't reach them, then call for help, call for your down, and basically we'll replace and switch blocks with you.
Would you ever kind of do the same thing with a really good like backside shade on a center if you couldn't get him cut off?
Yes. That's one adjustment you have to account for, is if you can't get your center to pull and you can't get it cut off, you basically just replace it and you treat it more like an odd front. And you basically block out in that shade, and then your backside guard would pull. That's given us the problems before, and definitely that's the adjustment we found that works, because it's basically we're treating it like an odd, and the guard's still able to get there, and you're not getting that run through on that A gap.
Got here before we let you go. Got a shout out here from Coach Manning. Just said wants to tell you thanks. He said you're one of the most influential shares of the online clinic world. He said he's helped you. You've helped him so much over the past 3 years. So.
Well,
don't know.
I'm glad we're able to help you out, but definitely a game where I've learned a lot from a lot of people, and just want to try to pass it forward.
Awesome. Well, Coach, I know we're right here up against it. I appreciate you. Like I said, I mean, I've kind of got to know you a little bit here over the past couple of years through Coach Vass and followed you, but really appreciate you coming on here. I know Coach Galen and his wife will greatly appreciate it, and hope I'll be in contact soon.
All right, right on, Coach. I appreciate
you. All right, Coach. Have a good night.
You guys have a good night. Take care.